disconnect the battery. You know, make sure you do that because you don't want anything to happen to you while you're working on the steering wheel. Because the steering wheel, of course, you have the airbag, so you don't want the airbag to deploy on you while you're working on the steering wheel. So, just get right to it. All right, so I've already disconnected the airbag. So here's the airbag. Disconnected that. We got a airbag line right here that goes, electrical portion that goes into the airbag. So I'm going to disconnect that. You have another wire here that needs to be disconnected, and I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect that. So I disconnected that one. So now I got a puller, so I'm gonna have to use the steering wheel puller in order to pull this out. So I rented a puller. I don't have one personally, but I probably need to invest in one since I'm gonna be working on this car. But how often am I gonna pull the steering wheel? So that's something I'll think about. Screw out. It's a T50 that I use socket. It's T50. So you usually get this out. So I got my puller. And here's a puller. Of course, you can rent this from anywhere, AutoZone or whatever, and use it to pull it. So what you have is you have the screws that go here. You have those screws that go there. The center portion, of course, goes in the middle, and you're going to tighten down on this portion here, which in turn is going to pull the steering wheel out. So go ahead and do that. So screw down on the puller, and it was kind of tough, but I just got a hammer and had to tap this piece right here on the puller. I just tapped it once or twice and tapped it while I was pulling it, and it just kind of slid on back, and as you can see, it pulled off. So this right here is the clock spring, and it has some clips on here, and I'm probably gonna have to take this off. This piece right here, the plastic piece around here, I'm probably gonna have to remove that in order to get to it, but it has plastic pieces on here, clips that you can pop loose. So I can pop that loose and go ahead and pull it out. Okay. Now that I've taken the steering wheel off, I have to take this piece right here. I gotta take this apart. I need to take this right here off. I probably don't need to take this off, but I'm gonna do it anyway, just so I can have some, just so I can see down in the steering column just a little bit. And this piece right here is held on by 4 bolts at the bottom, so I'm gonna take those 4 bolts out, and I have to be able to pop this. There's a piece up under here to where you can push in the pin and it pops the ignition out. So I'm gonna take that out in order to pop this off and keep it off. And then I'll get up under there and connect the wires. So when you take this piece of the dash off, you see what it looks like, and you can kind of get a, you can see just a little bit down in there, but I still got to take this piece off right on the side, this plastic piece off the steering column. And here I took the bottom plastic piece off, It was just held on by some clips. So I just pull that off, and you have 4 bolts under here in order to take this this cover off. So I'm gonna get that cover off and be right back. So by taking the plastic piece off the bottom, I discovered that I didn't need to take that part off, which was easy to take off. I could just put it back on. It clips on there and it has 2 screws up there. But I didn't need to take that off, but I did need to take this plate off down here. So as you can see, the yellow wire for the airbag, it goes all the way down and it plugs right here. And it goes through this module, comes down, all the way under here. So this airbag wire goes all the way back and it splits out into these 2 connectors. So I have to take these connectors off. I should be able to pull them down, but I have to take these connectors off, run the wire back through here and here, and it connects to the new clock spring. So I'm gonna take this piece off, be right back. So you can see the clock spring pulls right off. It has these tabs. Has a tab at the top, one on the side, on the right side, and one at the bottom. So you pull that off, and I'll have to remove this in order to get the wire down, but then I'll have to remove this module, and then once I remove it, then I'll be able to get the wire to go down right on top of it, and then I'll just screw it back. So here we go, the new spring, clock spring. I snapped it in place, put the ignition back in there. I need to put the bottom cover on. So once I put the bottom cover on and get everything back together, then we'll test it out. Alright, so if you look down in here, you'll see the ribbon. There's a ribbon in there. It broke. So it broke pretty good. Clean break seems like it. So that was the problem. So if you're having an airbag light that comes on, anything dealing with your controls on your steering wheel, if it's not working, even if your horn is not working, this is probably the culprit right here. Alright, so I got everything back on. Thing went back on nice and smooth. Got the bottom piece on there. So now all I have to do is just put the steering wheel back on and connect the airbag wire and the cruise control, and that'll be it. Alright guys, so I plugged up the airbag and I plugged up the cruise control. I tightened the bolt down, so tightening it's a T50, so you tighten it down as hard as you can get it. I don't know the exact torque, but I tightened it down pretty tight, so it's not going anywhere. It has a pin, so I have like a little dot on there just to let you know how to align it, under this, on behind the screw. So in front of the threads it has like a little dot, so it lets you know how to line it up. And you just put the airbag back on. So putting the airbag back on, and then I gotta tighten these screws on the side. Once you get the airbag in, tighten the screws on the side. And it's on both sides. So you'll see them on both sides. It's right down there. So once you tighten that up, you're good to go. Just go ahead and connect the battery. And once you connect the battery, make sure no one is behind the steering wheel at the time you're connecting the battery, just in case it deploys or anything like that. So you don't want anybody to get hurt. Okay, so we got everything back together. Battery is connected. So we're gonna crank it up and see if the light's still on. There it goes. Airbag light went out. So we good to go. Everything works. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We got another mod coming up. It'll probably be the wing. You probably change that out, the spoiler. I'll probably end up putting the Cobra spoiler on there. I need the roll defenders, so I have another video coming out for that. And after I finish this Mustang, then we'll go on to the slingshot. Go ahead and see what we can do with that. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.